Welcome to the Hack Lab. Today we're going to be talking about making one of my favorite projects, this hat rack. You know I love hats. You know, I'm losing my hair and I just think I look a little bit younger in a hat. So I'm going to make this hat rack, but here's what you're going to get out of it. I'm going to use free wood. Well, almost free. The wood that I got from the Goodwill, or where I call the scrap exchange. I'm using bed frames to create this awesome rack. And why it's a better rack, I'm going to share that with you. So I'm using my Thunder laser. I don't have it on right now because it has a fan and stuff like that. But when I fire it up, let me fire it up. So I fire it up, makes a little bit of sound, so I'm not playing it while I'm doing the video. So making this rack out of these bed frames, I learned so much. Not only did I learn things designing the file, but when I made the original file, and it only had one slat, hats had a tendency to rock back and forth. So one of the reasons why I upgraded from this Thunder laser from a hobby laser is that I can cut 3/4 inch wood. Now, the little tip that I have is the air pump that comes with it is really adequate, but it's not as good as using an air compressor. So if you're thinking about doing one of these machines and you want to do it right, you want to cut thick wood, thick plywood, consider getting a quiet air compressor. I have a 220 air compressor over there. It's on the loud side, but I would really consider getting something that is a little bit quieter. As far as the design goes, I gotta tell you, I never get it right on the first go-ahead. When I first started designing the actual slats, I put too many of these grooves in, so I'm gonna take it apart. So based on your air settings, you're gonna get cleaner cuts. Obviously you have to focus, but I'm gonna tell you something really important about using this found wood. Okay, so while I was designing it, I put in too many holes. I only needed 8 and I put in 10. So you have to work things out a little bit. But unfortunately, this wood was it was inexpensive. Each piece was about 30 cents. The bed slats were all together $5 and there was a ton of them and they didn't have any oil or residue and they cut beautifully. And it was really inexpensive and it didn't catch on fire. Now, one of the reasons I like about this design is it gives me an opportunity to engrave someone's name here at the top, which I didn't do because I wanted it to be generic. So the way that this works, it's 3 different pieces. It has a piece down here, one here, and another here for the joiner, and it has the 2 rails. It approximately takes, I'm not kidding you, this laser is so fast, it's 4 times as fast as any of those hobby lasers. And it's also big so I can do really long pieces like this, and I'm looking forward to making that Adirondack chair. So it combines with little screws in the back, and then you can customize it. So if you had this at your fair or your booth, you could just have the greatest dad, uncle, mom, or whatever. I don't know if mom's, everyone wears hats. I went ahead in the file and reduced the sizes. You can use it single wide. You can put a keyhole slot on one and use that. I'll tell you something that I learned in designing this file is that when I put the hole here, it was a little bit close to the edge. So make sure that you have the right screws when you're going ahead and building this, and then design that little hole accordingly. The Thunder is kicking butt. It is really doing a great job, but there's one thing I need you to understand. These boards can be slightly warped. When you buy any board, whether or not it's at the home goods store, when you put it on the breadcrumb tray, if you notice that it's bowing, you need to plane it, or you need to just understand that when you focus on one part, it's going to be not in focus on another part. So I went ahead and wet these boards and I put a weight down and I tried to get them back flat. They were just a little bit off and it made all the difference to be able to get that to cut all the way through. This is a 1/2 inch. If I had 3/4, I would use 3/4. But that is sort of the caveat with using found material, is since it's not necessarily flat, there's a trade-off. For me, this was absolutely perfect because there's tons of bed slats at my local Goodwill and scrap exchange. Okay, so one of the reasons I love this Thunder Laser is the fact that it has the RF tube. I need to explain an RF tube to you. An RF tube is not a glass CO tube. It doesn't require a chiller. It uses fans to cool it down, and it's super powerful, so you don't need to run it at 100%. But if you are running it and you're doing a high powerful cut, you need to have enough air. So that's why I connected up my air compressor. What's great about this machine is that you can connect up a different air supply other than the given pump, so it all goes really smoothly, so it's easy to maintain. So I've had the machine now for 6 months, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 different reviews because I figured there's 20 things that I want to go over, and I'm going to be doing those reviews this weekend, and they will be out over Sunday, which most likely they'll already be here when you watch this video, linked down below. I love all the doors, the access panels, but 6 months, I have not had any issues. If I've had any issues, it's because of user error with light burn, and I love talking to tech support. It feels like they're almost right here in my garage. So as far as the file goes, you can have an area for customization, and you can use any 1/2-inch wood you want. If you want to use 3/4, there's a little bit different design. Let me know. I'll adapt that plan. So as far as using the length of this laser, this is a 35, so it's a Nova Plus 35. The plus means that it's the RF tube that's all the way in back. I don't have to deal with the chiller, and I also don't have to deal with overheating like I did with my Glowforge, so it's awesome to have that. There's another thing that I really like about this particular design. This is something that you can actually assemble at the art fair, the craft fair, or when you ship it, you can ship it flat because it's really easy to assemble with the screws in the back. You can add a customization thing on Etsy, and there are so many hat people and so many people losing their hair. I can't imagine who could not use this hat rack. So I'm looking forward to putting it up. I'm probably going to go ahead and take a torch to it and then add a really, really nice patina on it and makes it look a little interesting. You could also paint it in different parts. There's lots of things to do. You can remove the amount of slats if you don't want the slats. But one other interesting thing that I want to share with you in this video is that you notice that these edges are really nice and clean. And I do have some cauterization here at the top. Mainly that happened because the wood was a little bit warped, and I learned after cutting a few racks. The way that these are nice and smooth is I actually don't cut these on the laser. I only cut the slats. So what I did is I created a line that goes all around it because it helps me register it. I put the board inside of the laser cutter, and then I went ahead and cut it completely out, but I did not cut the outside line. I only cut the slats. I also drilled the holes with the laser and then cut these boards because I really think this laser cutter is so powerful. I almost could eliminate a lot of tools in my garage. Maybe not a table saw, which I'm kind of afraid of, but definitely a bandsaw or definitely a miter saw. So I'm really happy about this project. It's really fun. See you in the next one.